What's going on, Washington Commanders Nation? Lots of news coming out on Wednesday, on Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, Sweethearts Day to those who celebrate it, whether that's with a loved one, a spouse, a parent, a child, a side joint, a sneaky link, or a work wife. Have a happy Valentine's Day. But Washington, once again, stealing headlines today, have made some very awesome hires to their coaching staff, adding Anthony Lynn, assistant head coach to the 49ers, as their new run game coordinator. This is a guy with head coaching experience, a guy who plays an integral part for the San Francisco 49ers organization. One of the best leaders in a locker room I've ever seen. He comes from the Parcells School. Sean Payton, players swear by him. When you've played the game and you've won, that goes a long way in the locker room. So this is a guy with not only coordinator experience, but with head coach experience. And they are getting to it, man. Not only did they take from the 49ers tree once, they pulled from it again. They brought over Darryl Tapp. They brought over Darryl Tapp to be our new defensive line coach. In his 12-year career, he has made us stop playing for Washington. He's now the D-line coach taking over here in D.C. So he was the assistant D-line coach in San Francisco. He comes over to Washington to be the defensive line coach. So Darryl Tapp and Anthony Lynn join our staff from the 49ers. And we're hiring Tom Donatel as our new defensive backs coach. He was promoted to passing game coordinator and secondary coach by the Chargers last year. He joins Jason Simmons, who will have a significant voice on the passing game coordinator spot in DC. So we got DB coach, run game coordinator, and D-line coach wrapped up with Anthony Lynn, Darryl Tapp, and Tom Donatel. Not only did we do that today, we've also made some front office hires as well. We have relegated Adam Peters has moved Martin Mayhew to a different front office position because we just brought in an assistant GM from Detroit. Lance Newmark is taking over as the assistant general manager for the Washington Commanders. He was recently the senior director of player personnel for the Detroit Lions. You know, we took that flight up to see Ben Johnson last month, and we hit him with the Denzel Washington. I'm leaving with something. I'm leaving with something. So a guy that has helped shape the entire Detroit Lions roster on the college and pro level is now our assistant GM here in DC. Adam Peters is playing chess, not checkers. He's cooking here. A guy instrumental in building one of the hotter teams in the league is now our assistant general manager to Adam Peters. Executive Vice President Marty Herney will move into an advisory role, and our last GM, Martin Mayhew, is now transitioning to a new role as he'll be senior personnel executive and advisor to the GM. So they're in much smaller positions. That front office is rounding out as well. Where do we fucking start? These guys are doing it, man. These guys are absolutely doing it. And I'm looking at a tweet from Nikki Jabwala right now where Adam Peters is speaking on Lance Newmark via the team's website. I am thrilled to welcome Lance Newmark to the Washington Commanders. Lance is someone that I've known and respected in the scouting community my entire career. He is highly respected talent evaluator and a great leader who will fit perfectly into what we're building here in Washington. I want to thank Brad Holmes and the Lions organization for being first class and working with us on the process of bringing Lance to the DMV. Lance is a phenomenal person, and he will immediately elevate our overall personnel function here at the Commanders. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome Lance and family to DC. Washington is knocking this offseason the fuck out. Despite the fact that we didn't get Ben Johnson, we got something huge from Detroit. Someone who's helped build up the player personnel department for the Detroit Lions. We love to see it, y'all. We love to see it. The front office is shaping out. The staff is shaping out. I am too excited over here. We are doing it big. This is huge. This is huge, man. We're doing coaching news and front office news on a Wednesday. We love to see it. How are y'all feeling about all these moves here in DC? Adam Peters and Dan Quinn not playing with y'all. They're not playing with y'all even a little bit on Valentine's Day. We making moves today. We're not sitting around hands tied on dates. We getting after it. 757 guy, Daryl Tapp added to the staff. Our staff is so like that. Former players, former coordinators, former head coaches, young up and coming talent, successors if we lose coordinators to a head coaching job. We got it all on this staff here right now, and the staff is about complete at this point. We love to see this. We love to see it. So, offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury, passing game coordinator Brian Johnson, run game coordinator Anthony Lynn, quarterback coach Tavita Pritchard, offensive lineman coach Bobby Johnson, tight ends coach David Rye, wide receiver coach Bobby Ingram, special teams coordinator Larry Izzo, D coordinator Joe Witt Jr., passing game coordinator Jason Simmons, D-line coach Daryl Tapp of the San Francisco 49ers, assistant D-line coach Sharif Floyd, linebacker coach Ken Norton Jr., assistant linebacker coach / pass rush specialist Ryan Kerrigan, defensive back coach Tom Donatel, and senior defensive assistant John Pagano. I'm loving this staff, baby. We're almost at a complete staff now, and the front office is shaping out as well. We have an assistant GM. We've moved the Marty party down. We've relegated them to lower positions where they belong. Things are turning here in DC. If you ain't believing, if you're not understanding the picture, get with it, because these boys are absolutely chefing up one hell of an offseason, Michelin star style. Cook Adam Peters, cook Dan Quinn. I'm so excited, man. We are doing this shit right now. We are doing it. And I'm sure we're not done in the front office either. And my favorite part about all this, they're taking their time. They're not worrying about controlling narratives. They're doing what they need to do whenever they need to do it, and nothing's leaking out. Also, Will Blackman interviewed for the assistant special teams job the other day. He was like, I'm not even gonna lie, I wish I was back. I wish I was back there in Ashburn. I actually wanted to get on this staff. I'm loving the diversity of this, man. I'm reading a Grant Paulson tweet. He said the Commanders' offensive staff consists of 2 former head coaches and a guy who interviewed for head coaching jobs this cycle. Also, 3 offensive starters have all called plays. I don't know any other team who can claim that. You can quibble over results and philosophy stuff with each, but you cannot argue with their experience and qualifications for the roles that they took here in Washington. I don't want to hear anything about too many cooks in the kitchen. I don't want to hear any of that. Washington put together a staff, and we all owe Dan Quinn an apology or two, because the appeal to Dan Quinn was leadership, experience, and ability to hire a top-notch staff. And did he not do that? Did he not get right to it? Seattle is still piecing together their staff right now. They hired Mike McDonald before we hired Dan Quinn. There are a lot of staffs that are still coming together. All Dan Quinn had to do was sit down on the job and start making some phone calls. Not only did he pull ring, Adam Peters pulled ring, and we pulled a bunch of important guys away from the 49ers as well. Anthony Lynn is the assistant head coach to the San Francisco 49ers, the team that was just seconds away from winning the Super Bowl the other day. Decided to come be the run game coordinator here in DC. Daryl Tapp, assistant D-line coach, decided to come over to Washington from San Francisco. Adam Peters pulled rank, as well as Dan Quinn, for all the connections they've pulled in here in DC so far. And this front office move is probably my favorite of them all. We have an assistant GM from one of the rising and ascending front offices in this league. Brad Holmes has built a bully in the Detroit Lions front office. I watched a full 90-minute Inside the Lions Den War Room draft special that the Lions put out, because I want to see my team do that kind of content. You get to just watch Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, and company react to the ebbs and the flows of the draft, all the emotions of it. I need our team doing that same type of content. I want cameras following Adam Peters, Lance NEWMARK, and company the entire draft. Welcome to DC, my guy. Welcome to DC, my guy. Lance NEWMARK. We add to the front office. He's not going to be the last addition. This is going to keep coming. News is going to keep coming out of Washington, but these are huge grabs. Anthony Lynn is such a huge grab. Anthony Lynn is, at some point, is going to get another chance to be a head coach. It didn't work out for him the first time, but he's definitely going to get another opportunity at some point to be a head coach. But until then, he can set up shop here in DC. We lost Randy Jordan and Jennifer King. Upgrade. We add Anthony Lynn. We don't even have a running back coach yet, but we got a run game coordinator. Do we even need a running back coach? We're going to hire one, but these are huge hires, man. This gets me excited on a Wednesday. Like, I just woke up to a barrage of news. We love to see it here in DC. Anthony Lynn, Daryl Tapp, Tom Dolatell, and Lance NEWMARK from the Detroit Lions. The Marty Party has been demoted to other positions. Washington is slaying this motherfucking offseason. You love to see it. As more news comes out, I'm here to react to it. It's your boy Rio Robinson. Until next time, hail to the Washington Commanders. Deuces.